Hello and welcome, dear followers. Welcome to this second part of the amazing historical artifacts that will blow your mind.
11. Parade shield made by Leone Leone, Italian sculptor in 16th century.
Made by Leone Leone, an Italian sculptor. Ceremonial shields or escutcheons, known in Italian as rotelles, were worn by soldiers and retainers of princes and nobles in military and religious parades. Sometimes they served as prizes for winners in jousting tournaments. Leone Leone, circa 1509 to 22 July 1590, was an Italian sculptor of international outlook who traveled in Italy, Germany, Austria, France, Spain and the Netherlands. Leone is considered the best of the Cinquecento medalists. He worked for the Habsburgs, Charles V, Holy Roman Emperor and Philip II of Spain. His usual medium was bronze, although he also worked in marble and alabaster, carved gemstones, and probably left some finished work in wax, from which many of his sculptures were modeled, and designed coins. He mainly painted portraits and was repeatedly used by the Spanish as well as the Austrian Habsburgs.
12. General Patton's Colt .45 model, 1873.
George S. Patton in 1916 was a Renaissance man in the U.S. military. He had spent a good bit of his active service overseas. He competed in the 1912 Stockholm Olympics in the modern pentathlon, studied sword fighting in France, and even designed the last cavalry saber the U.S. Army ever issued. The standard sidearm at the time in the Army was the brand new Colt 1911 Longslide, which augmented a series of .38 caliber revolvers. Patton, however, wanted something with just a little bit more character.
13. Caparison ordered by Swedish royal household in 1621.
In 1620 the brothers Ert (1593–1650) and Peter d. (1652) Spiering took over the workshop of their father, François, in Delft. That very year the Swedish royal household, the most prestigious client of the Spiering workshop, ordered 46 tapestry weavings, including 4 caparisons. The Flemish emigrant David Binkboons supplied the designs. Gustav II Adolf of Sweden needed these items for the celebration of his marriage to Maria Eleonora of Brandenburg. The tapestries, surely from stock, arrived in time. But the 4 caparisons, comprising 12 pieces, which had to be woven with special designs, arrived late. They were completed in 1621. Ert Spiering, who was the weaver in the partnership, put his initials on one of the caparisons. The caparisons were intended to deck out horses in processions and tournament festivities. From the 4 sets of caparisons, 2 sets, one on a red ground, the other on a blue, are still preserved in Sweden. The picture shows the blue set, which includes a shabrack or saddle cloth 255 by 115 centimeters, a shoulder cloth 132 by 137 centimeters, and a neck cloth 146 by 150 centimeters.
14. Dunstable Swan Jewel from about 1400.
The Dunstable Swan Jewel is a gold and enamel brooch in the form of a swan made in England or France in about 1400 and now in the British Museum, where it is on display in room 40. The jewel was excavated in 1965 on the site of Dunstable Friary, and is presumed to have been intended as a livery badge given by an important figure to his supporters. The most likely candidate was probably the future Henry V of England, who was Prince of Wales from 1399.
15. Top of the lion armor's helmet, 16th century, France.
The embossed lion armor is thought to have belonged to King Henry II of France r. 1547–1559 and can safely be attributed to the famous Negroli family of Milan, the dominant makers of this type and quality by the mid-16th century. The armor takes its name from the menacing lions' faces which appear on its most prominent surfaces. Perhaps most impressively, the helmet is fashioned to frame the face with the lion's open jaws, in the manner of an ancient Roman parade outfit. The armor seems to have been in England from the mid-1620s, after which it was crudely altered, most obviously with the enlargement of the face opening of the helmet. Between about 1640 and 1688 Edward Montague, 2nd Earl of Manchester, Charles II, Cosimo de' Medici, and General George Monk, Duke of Albemarle were each painted in this armor. By the later 18th century it belonged to Board of Ordnance armourer John Cooper, who apparently lent it for exhibition at the Tower of London. It was presented there as the armor of Charles II in the display of mounted figures known as the Line of Kings, and was later displayed as that of Edward VI and then Charles I.
16. Elephant armor from 17th century India. It's made up of 5,840 plates and weighs an insane 118 kilograms.
An incredibly rare surviving example of a suit of mail and plate armor for an elephant, acquired by Lady Clive, wife of 2nd Lord Clive, Governor of Madras, in India between 1798 and 1800 and transported to Britain in 1801. The armor currently includes the head and neck defenses and 4 body panels. 2 body panels are missing. In 2004, this elephant armor set a Guinness World Record for largest suit of animal armor. It is the only surviving, near-complete mail and plate example from the Mughal era in a public collection. The armor currently contains around 5,840 plates, and weighs 118 kilograms. If complete 2 body panels are missing, it would weigh nearly 160 kilograms.
17. The sword of Emperor Maximilian I.
Elected King of the Romans February 16, 1486 in Frankfurt am Main at his father's initiative and crowned on April 9, 1486 in Aachen, Maximilian I stood at the head of the Holy Roman Empire upon his father's death in 1493. During his first year as an emperor, much of Austria was under Hungarian rule as they had occupied the territory under the reign of Frederick. In 1490, Maximilian finally reconquered it and entered Vienna. The photos above provide a rare look at one of his swords.
18. 18th century makeup kit from England that includes a mirror, pencils and a manicure set. 19. Gold silver on bronze Mycenaean, lion hunt, burial dagger. Grave circle A, Mycenae, Greece 16th century BC. 20. Lycurgus cup, Roman, 4th century goblet that changes color when held up to the light.
The Lycurgus cup is a 4th century Roman glass cage cup made of a dichroic glass, which shows a different color depending on whether or not light is passing through it, red when lit from behind and green when lit from in front. It is the only complete Roman glass object made from this type of glass, and the one exhibiting the most impressive change in color. It has been described as the most spectacular glass of the period, fittingly decorated, which we know to have existed.
21. Morion for the guards of the Elector of Saxony.
A morion is a light helmet for soldiers on foot or horseback with a distinctive comb along the top and an upturned brim. They are decorated with studs and often with etching, paint, and gilding. The image on this one represents the legendary Roman nobleman Marcus Curtius. When a chasm opened up in the center of ancient Rome, it was believed that it would not close until something of great value was thrown into it. The warrior sacrificed his life to protect Rome by riding his horse into the chasm, which then closed over them. This morion was worn by a member of the bodyguard of the electors of Saxony in Dresden. The Archduke of Saxony was one of the princes of the Holy Roman Empire who had a vote in the election of the emperor. Date between 1586 and 1591.
22. Peacock clock from Hermitage Museum. It's a large automaton made for Catherine the Great in 1781.
Built in the late 18th century, the Peacock clock at the State Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, Russia is a stunning work of art and engineering by London jeweler, goldsmith, and craftsman James Cox. It's a 3-meter 10-foot tall automaton made in gilded bronze and silver.
23. Polish hussars half armor, mid-17th century.
The Polish hussars, Polish, Husaria, alternatively known as the Winged Hussars, were a heavy cavalry formation active in Poland and in the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth from 1503 to 1702. Their epithet is derived from large rear wings, which were intended to demoralize the enemy during charge. The hussars ranked as the elite of Polish cavalry until their official disbanding in 1776. 24. Pixid al-Mughira from 968 year. Pyxis of al-Mughira, possibly from Medinat al-Zahra, A 357-968 CE, carved ivory with traces of jade, 16 cm by 11.8 cm, Musée du Louvre, Paris.
25. A golden wreath and ring from the burial of an Odrysian aristocrat at the Golyamata Mogila tumulus, mid-4th century BC.
A golden wreath and ring from the burial of an Odrysian aristocrat at the Golyamata Mogila tumulus, located between the villages of Zolotinica and Malomirovo in the Yambil region. Dated to the middle of the 4th century BC.
26. Egyptian ring from the tomb of King Tutankhamun. 27. Armored dresses, Graz Armory, Austria, late 16th, early 17th century. 28. Joyas, Charlemagne's personal sword.
This is what we have regarding this topic. We thank you for the good follow-up, and do not forget to support us by subscribing to the channel, so that we will continue to publish more, God willing.